Hey guys, it's Misty here. Welcome. So as you can tell by the title of this video, I am going to be talking to you about my first 2 weeks on the ketogenic diet. Now, I've only been on it for 2 weeks, so I don't feel like I'm any kind of expert to really explain it, but as a Cliff's Note version, the ketogenic diet is a low carb, high fat diet, and it's somewhat similar to Atkins, but Atkins is low carb, high protein from what I remember. So it's a bit different. And again, not an expert. So please don't leave a comment that I've given the wrong information or I'm not doing it right. I am doing what I can to get started. So I would really encourage you to get on YouTube. Jason Whitrock, I think is his name. I've watched a lot of his videos. Keto Karma. There, if you just search keto, ketogenic diet, etc. Dr. Berg, B-E-R-G. There's a lot of information on YouTube, and then there's also some books that you can get on Amazon, etc. So, I started the ketogenic diet on March 6th for this time. I'd spent the last, like three weeks before then just kind of really researching the diet and getting an idea of how that was going to work for me and what I really needed to do to make sure that it was something that I could stick with and something that I would be successful with. So I was just ready to go like gangbusters, and Rob has decided to go low carb with me as well. And honestly, that the day he said that, I was so stinking excited because it's so much easier to stick with it when I have another person who's like, yeah, really, we really shouldn't eat carbs and those kinds of things. But I haven't actually had a real urge to eat carbs, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So So the ketogenic diet, again, low carb, high fat. You'll hear the word macros a lot. Macros are just macronutrients, and they're the 3 nutrients that make up a calorie or have calories. So protein, carbohydrates, and fat. They recommend that you stick to 20 carbohydrates or less every day. Some say that you can get up to 50 depending on your activity level, but in order to be in ketosis, which is the fat burning stage, then your body needs to be starved of carbohydrates. Some people do whole carbohydrates where it's just 20 carbs no matter what kind of fiber, sugar, alcohol, and then there are some people, myself included, who are counting net carbs. And again, net carbs is just total carbohydrate minus the fiber and minus sugar, alcohol. Now you'll find sugar, alcohol in sugar-free items. It's not necessarily something that you want to have often, but I'm a firm believer that sometimes you have to have something on hand that may mirror what you're eating or missing in real life in order to be successful. So I have sugar-free Bomb Pops because I love popsicles. That's my thing. And I got the Carb Smart almond chocolate bars, the ice cream bars. And we picked up some Enlightened. I got some So Delicious thinking that I would like coconut when I don't like coconut. I picked up some sugar-free chocolate syrup to have with some cashew milk. So just a few things like that to make sure that I can be as successful as I can be. But I also am not eating those on the regular. So when I started on March 6th, my fasting blood sugar was 269, which is high. It's not as high as it's been for me in the past, but it's still a high number. Normal is like 90 to 120 or 80 to 120. It really just depends on your endocrinologist and those kinds of things. But I have said from the very beginning that my goal with going a certain way of eating is not necessarily the number on the scale. It is my blood sugar. So the blood sugar is doing really well. Like I said, I started March 6th at 269. By the 9th day, I was at 130. By the 10th day, it was 117. So it's getting smaller and smaller. I will say I kind of screwed up. I got a little overzealous thinking that, let me bump down my insulin, because I only take insulin at night and it helps lower my fasting number. That didn't work. So I'm bringing it back down again. The first week of keto, I just really have spent... did I finish explaining what macronutrients were? I don't know. Anyway, I'll get to that again in a minute. So I found a couple of keto calculators. We'll just talk about that now. I found a couple of keto calculators that, you put in your weight and your activity level, and that was a little daunting for me. And then I joined some Facebook groups, and I found one where you find your goal weight, and that's how many grams a day you eat in fat. You divide that in half, and that's how many grams a day you should eat in protein. And then again, you should have under 20 carbs. So your percentage for the day should be between 70 and 80%, 70, 75, 80% fat, 5% carbohydrate, and then the rest protein. So it's not a high protein diet. It's a very moderate and sometimes what seems to be a low protein diet. My first week was rough. But as far as my fat goes, that first week, I was really focusing in on getting 200 grams of fat a day, because that is what my goal weight is. And then I've been eating between 83 and 100. That's kind of my goal for protein. Those first 3 days, actually that first whole week, I was tracking. My non-scale goal for the month of March is to track my food every day in MyFitnessPal. It's a free app. It's really easy to figure out. And I was just like, I've never done that before. I signed up for MyFitnessPal, and I think I tracked like one time a couple of years ago. But I have been consistent, and I just didn't realize... I just didn't realize how much protein I was eating in the day, because those first probably 3 or 4 days, I was probably having 200 to 250 grams of protein. And I was just like, geez Louise, I could not get it together. I think it was that day 9 or day 10 where I finally hit my protein goal, which was like 83 grams. And so it's really been a journey in kind of portion control, which is my other non-scale goal, is to get my portions under control. So the first week, my main goal was to get used to eating low carb again. Now, I have gone low carb probably 100 different times since 2006, when I was diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic. And it ebbs and flows. So I don't know if that's why I didn't experience the keto flu as a lot of people do, or if it was because I was already versed in keto before I started, and I've been making sure that I've been taking a magnesium supplement for like 4 or 5 months now. I bought some no salt to kind of up my potassium a little bit, and then I've been making sure that I'm getting extra sodium through the day. I'm not a huge lover of salting my food. I don't like the taste of something salty, but I gross Rob out, and I'll drink some pickle juice just to make sure that I'm getting some sodium. So in those 2 weeks, I've only had one leg cramp one night. I'm prone to them anyway, but the next day I made sure that I added in a little bit more potassium. You can get potassium from some of the foods that you eat, but most of the foods that contain a lot of potassium also contain a lot of carbohydrates. So there's that. So that first week, the carb goal was super easy, like stupid easy. But the protein and the fat was hard. It was really, really rough. So, but I stuck with it. I logged every single day, and every night I'd tell Rob and be like, oh my word. Oh my gosh. So it was just really getting used to portion control, because with keto, I've set myself at 2,200 calories. That's kind of my caloric goal of the day. but I'm trying to eat at a deficit. So I'm trying to eat at a deficit. And there's been a couple of days where I've had a 600 or 700 calorie deficit. And I'm okay with that. And it's taken me a while to find the research that says, include your body fat in that nutrient fat, because you want your body to start burning the fat that you've stored, and you don't want it to just be burning that nutritional fat. So instead of eating 200 grams of fat a day, good fats, healthy fats, I'm trying to stick to right around 100 or 120. So my body is also starting to burn my own body fat because there's a lot of it. I haven't been weighing. Again, this is mostly about just getting used to everything, and I don't want the scale to be a distraction, because a lot of people get really, really annoyed. What's the other word I can think of? Like, just really apprehensive or concerned when they're not dropping huge amounts of weight, because people lose a lot of weight. I know somebody who's lost 80 pounds in 7 months. There was someone who lost 100 pounds in 9 months. And it's a healthy way of losing weight, because you're eating healthy fats. You're eating, avocado, and you're eating butter, and you're not having processed stuff like margarine or vegetable oil or corn oil, peanut oil, those kinds of things. So again, I'm not an expert, so I'll let you guys go do research on your own. I'll try to answer any questions that you may have. So another thing that I'm really trying to do is get water in. Let me show you. One of my friends posted about her hydro flask, and this is the 40-ounce water bottle. If you're unfamiliar, they are powder coated steel, I think, or stainless, I don't remember. Anyway, it claims to keep items cold for 24 hours, and it keeps items cold for 24 hours. So I will fill this up with ice and water, and I will probably drink maybe 3 or 4 a day, sometimes more. It depends on how thirsty I am. And so I've been trying to limit my soda consumption to the weekends and my tea consumption to dinner. So I've been drinking that. Along with the the water bottle, I bought Rob and I the tumblers. This is the 32-ounce tumbler. Yes, I drink a lot. I always have, always will probably. And I got Rob the 20-ounce. And the reason why I got us the tumblers is because we have a cat that likes to stick her face in our drinks. And I got tired of drinking cat hair. So we do that. But I also like the idea that I can put ice in this, and then I can add tea to it, or I can add water. Right now I'm drinking sparkling water with some water enhancer. Let me take a drink. Thank you. So I'm getting in a ton of water. I didn't really notice a change in my urination habits until the last couple of days, so I think that my body is finally starting to flush some things out. But again, I didn't experience the keto flu, which is where it's basically where you're not getting enough electrolytes, which are magnesium, potassium, and sodium. So I haven't been paying that close. I wasn't paying that close attention to my macros, which are carbs, fats, and protein. That was the first week. The second week, I was paying more attention to that and serving sizes. So, and I will try to remember to insert some pics of food at the end of this, depending on how long it is. But for breakfast, I've been having, this last week it was a whole lot easier because I was home and I could just cook up a quick breakfast. So I was having 2 eggs scrambled and a tablespoon of butter. And then I bought some Banquet already cooked breakfast sausage links. They're about this big, and 3 is a serving, 6 is a serving, I don't remember, but it's like 3 for 1 carb. So I had 6, and then I like to cook pico de gallo in with my eggs, so I would do a tablespoon of that, and then I would have a cup of guacamole. Not like a cup, but the little, I think mine's the Good Foods tableside brand of guacamole. I get it at Costco. It's really good. So that, that was a normal breakfast for me. And I think I ate that 4 out of 5 days last week. A couple of days I threw in coffee. you'll hear a lot of people talk about bulletproof coffee, which is where you take coffee and you add fat to it. And a lot of people do, regular butter and coconut oil. I bought some cocoa butter off of Amazon, and I've been adding like 2 or 3 wafers and some heavy cream to mine. I'm not a huge coffee drinker, but there were a couple of days I was like, whew, I need to wake up. So I did that. Lunches, what was I eating last week for lunch? I think I did salad one day. I did like a taco salad from Taco Bueno without the shell. So we've eaten out, I think 3 times. Friday night we went to IHOP. I remembered, and I had an eggshell omelet. If you're unfamiliar, IHOP puts pancake batter in their omelet. So I got a fresh egg omelet with this, and I got the big steak without hash browns, and I had that with like a side salad. We went to a burger place, and I had my burger without a bun, and like added extra bacon to it. And then today, which is March 19th, is Rob's birthday, and we went to a restaurant called Fogo de Chão, and it is a Brazilian steakhouse. If I've ever talked about my husband, he could eat a steak every day of his life, probably. He loves red meat. So that was his choice, and we went and we asked that they not bring the Brazilian bread, the little cheesy bread, so good, and any of the sides, because it's mashed potatoes, plantains, and then polenta. So one thing I've noticed about this way of eating this time around, and I think it's just I've got my mind right, I haven't had an urge to cheat. Like, my friend and I were at work, and she was like, well, when you're ready to take a break, and I was like, no, and she was like, no, I was like, no, I was like, I cannot afford to take a break. I'm doing this, number 1, to get my blood sugar under control, but number 2, to lose weight, so I will not be mobile by 40. That's really my goal. So I didn't feel the need to cheat until Thursday, and that's because I didn't feel well. I was a little sick to my stomach. I was really feeling lonely and depressed. I was home, or I was at work. I was home on spring break, and that day was really, really hard on me. And then on Saturday, we went to our favorite burger joint, and they have the best fried pickles. And I was like, I want a fried pickle and some tater tots so bad. But I didn't do it. Today, I would have probably given anything for just one bite of polenta and one of those cheese breads, and I didn't. So I'm really proud of myself at that, for that. So 2 weeks in, I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better about my portion control. I feel better about meal planning. So like yesterday, I cooked up a bunch of meat on the grill. You guys that follow me know that we get like a huge bag of chicken breast from Costco, and I grill it up for Rob. He cuts it up and portions it out, and he gets 7 or 8 weeks of chicken for his lunches ready to go. So since I was doing that, I threw on some pork chops, some bratwurst, and I was going to grill hamburgers. And that way, each night I just have to heat up the meat. So doing that, I've already planned my lunch for tomorrow. I'm having a cup of sauerkraut with 2 of those bratwursts that I cut up, a couple of servings of green olives, and a pickle. And then I'm going to take some macadamia nuts and some raw broccoli and cauliflower as my snack. And I don't necessarily feel like I need a snack, but I also want to be prepared in case I am still hungry. Now, my breakfast is normally pretty filling, and I'm going to get up in the morning and I'm going to make the 2 eggs scrambled with the pico de gallo. I'm going to do the sausage and the cup of guacamole. I hate eating first thing in the morning. I hate it. So, and that's why I normally wait until I get to work to eat breakfast. But that would mean me stopping for something. And I'm just doing my damnedest to stick with this. So I'll get up in the morning, I'll cook that real quick, throw in some Tupperware, grab my shower, get dressed, go to work, and then eat when I get to work. So, and still continue drinking my water, etc. So, this video was probably all over the place. I probably should have wrote down a timeline. I didn't think about it. I just wanted to get on and tell you about what's been going on with me and how I've been faring. If you guys want more often updates, I can do that. And my goal is to film or to at least take a picture of every meal and get that uploaded. I was taking my blood sugar, eating a meal, taking my blood sugar, eating a meal, and I just one day, I don't know how I got out of the habit, and then all of a sudden I was out of the habit, and I was like, dang it! So I'm going to do my best to do that again, because those of you who are type 2 diabetic, it's completely different for someone who's type 1, but those of us who are type 2, I think it's really important to, check your blood sugar at the beginning of the day. If you can do it, right after that first meal, before and after the next couple of meals. I think that's really important. And again, why I will probably have some stuff with me just in case I feel hungry. So yeah, so I guess if I have any tips or tricks is if you are new to low carb, I would really suggest that you just focus on that, maybe the first or even the first and the second week, because that's difficult. Carb withdrawal is a real thing because your body is addicted to sugar. And it can be, I think it's called the keto flu with some people. Atkins calls it the induction flu. And that, again, that's more about your body kind of detoxing from sugar. Make sure you're getting your water, those kinds of things. And you'll find that there are, again, those that do like clean keto and they do it exactly by the book and they don't compromise on anything. And then there are those of us like me, for right now, I've added in, some things that may not be 100%, keto, because keto is all about eating whole foods that come from the earth. But, I've been here, done that. So in order to make sure that I'm successful with this, I've got to have a little something to make me feel like I'm not being deprived. I haven't given up dairy. I probably should, but I haven't. And I may do that in the future. Right now, it doesn't seem to be a problem for me. I haven't experienced any bloating. I haven't experienced any, acne or anything like that. So I don't think it's an issue right now. Going forward, if it's something where I feel like it's stalling my weight loss, or if I'm just making sure that I'm not eating very much. So again, it was a real eye-opener once I started tracking cheese and like pepperonis and my prosciutto, and just realizing how much protein, how many grams of protein are in things. Like Rob and I went to Red Robin last weekend. Dang, we've eaten out a lot. Anyway, we went to Red Robin and I got a 6-inch burger patty with a side salad. And I thought I was getting 2 patties and I just got one. So she brought me another one. And I logged that and I was like, that's like basically all my protein for the day. So it's been a little bit of a struggle. But anyway, guys, I hope I didn't confuse you, but I hope that gives you an idea of what's been going on and how I'm doing. I haven't noticed a great big bump in energy, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I'm having so many issues with muscle weakness and stuff. I just already feel weak, so it's hard to feel energetic when you're already feeling weak. But I think that will come. Mental clarity, again, I'm taking a medicine that messes with your brain, so hopefully that will come soon. But I do notice that I'm eating less. I do notice that my blood sugar is dropping dramatically, and I know that my A1C will be right behind it. So I am not weighing in again until April 1st. Again, I don't want to become consumed with the scale. I've watched a couple of people who weigh every day, and I would be neurotic at that. And I would be like, screw this. Haven't lost, or, I don't want to focus on that. I know how I would become. I would become too neurotic about it. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Again, I'm not an expert, but I'm doing my best. If you want to follow me on social media, it's at Home with Misty. Instagram, I've been posting, like I said, my meals, kind of some meal prep kind of stuff, and I will try to do more to share that in the future. So let me know in the comments down below if you'd like weekly updates, if you want to see me do daily eating vlogs. I see people do what I ate today on keto, those kinds of things. I wouldn't mind doing that. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I will talk to you in the next one. Bye for now.